Good morning, and Marcel, you threw a little bit of a curveball at me this morning when you talked about thunderstorms because it was something I did not know about. It's here in Michigan. It's a beautiful. Well,
Yeah, well, I'm in Alabama, so
right, right,
it's not what is happening in Michigan. It's
right.
just that in the now it's stopped. There's no more thunderstorm. I can see some patches of blue sky, but during the night it's
It's
been raining. It's actually been awful weather since I've been here. It's been like raining and storming. I think there's a hurricane off the
it
coast
is
of
right. A
Texas.
remnants,
So,
yeah, a remnants
yeah,
of
I've gone
Nicholas.
swimming 2 times in the ocean, and it's like wild. The waves throw you one way, then another way, and then they turn you around. I got
Yeah.
scraped in the face as well. I like to swim, so I did it anyway. But the water is like so angry.
Well, when you mentioned thunder, it definitely I really got out of bed on the wrong side today because it caught me completely off guard. So, but thanks for the at least for the reminder that you're in it down in Alabama.
I
So,
am in Alabama.
uh, looking here, a couple things. We start off talking about the weather. We've had more severe weather, and I want to start with that over the last several days, 3 consecutive nights here in Michigan. It was somewhat regionalized to central and southern lower Michigan, but some storm reports here for 3 nights. This is basically looking at events which took place on Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday evening here on the right-hand side. And you can see there's not a lot, but there was some significant severe weather that you can actually see the parent thunderstorm or cluster of thunderstorms that led to this with on Sunday evening, a nice, well, not a nice, but a path right across central lower Michigan. That one actually, that particular group of severe thunderstorms had very large hail with it, in some cases up to 2.5 inches, which is something we don't see very often, fortunately, in Michigan. But we did see some, there was some reported in Gratiot County and other parts of central lower Michigan. We had also some high wind and a couple reports of hail on Monday afternoon with the storms that went through then. And then quite a bit of wind damage reported across the state during the day on Tuesday afternoon. Once again, another round of severe weather. So it's been very active from that perspective. More rain with that, and hopefully we will be entering a period with a little bit less activity. I think that's the case for much of the upcoming week. In terms of mean temperatures here for the past week, they ranged from just a little bit below normal, about a degree below normal across portions of upper Michigan to as much as 4 degrees above normal in the south. We had a frontal boundary through the state, and it was warm and humid and muggy to the south of that, and much less so to the north of the front, and that accounts for that difference in means. Precipitation, you can see again, but thinking back to that severe weather, there's a correlation there. But the heaviest rainfall across central and east central lower Michigan, in some cases more than 2, actually some cases more than 3 inches, but the yellow here on the color is more than 2 inches. There was also some significant rainfall up in portions of western and central upper Michigan, and that was the heaviest rain they've seen there in several weeks as well. And they needed it because of dryness. There also were areas, portions of the northern lower that were generally missed, although they've seen more rain than most people in the state here several weeks. And also note one other exception here, the southwestern part of lower Michigan was generally missed by most of the precipitation as well, and actually somewhat dry, at least on the topsoil there. The degree day totals here for the season, this goes back to the beginning of May. We're still ahead of normal, significant surpluses in many areas. And draw your attention on the right-hand side here. These are the departures from normal as of mid-September, and they range from basically some portions of the Upper Peninsula were right about normal or just a little bit, a few degree units ahead of normal. But for most of the state, especially for the Lower Peninsula, we have surpluses ranging from 100 base 50 units to more than 300. And you can see that in the map here, the green, and then that little embedded area of yellow, that's actually 300 units above normal. That's a big departure for this time of the year. And again, suggests that things are advanced phenologically much ahead of normal, at least a couple of weeks, probably 1 to 2 weeks or more again, depending on the location. So no shortage of heat units this year, and given the forecast, more to come. In terms of soil moisture, not much of a change here from what we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Conditions here relative to climatology ranging from wetter than normal across much of northern lower Michigan to a little drier than normal across portions of upper Michigan. And then you can see down also on the right-hand side here, areas of southwestern lower Michigan have turned or become drier than normal once again. And that's reflected a little bit here on the left-hand side with this Vegetation Drought Response Index, which is looking at how much the landscape is able to respond to the demand for water. And the brown means, of course, it doesn't have as much water as it ideally could have. And the upper Michigan is the primary area of that, but also portions of the thumb as well. But we're getting towards the end of the season, so this is much less meaningful than it would have been certainly a month ago. Looking at the outlook, I mentioned warmer. That's probably the most important theme in our forecast here as we move ahead. Weather map this morning, we've got the next weather system to impact the state off here to our north and west. You can see an area of low pressure with a cold front and then another warm front that's moving through the upper peninsula. That's actually setting off a little bit of shower and thunder shower activity, which you can see down in the lower left. That, though, that is not the main event. That's actually a little bit of a precursor. We'll probably see that dissipate here over the next several hours as it moves eastward and maybe clip western portions of upper Michigan. But what comes later will be, again, this with this cool front and this area of low pressure really overnight tonight and into Friday and then into very, very early Saturday. We'll see a gradual northwest to southeast spread, at least a threat of scattered shower and thunder shower activity. High pressure, though, for today. The other important thing is we're still under the influence of this high here over southern Ontario. And for the vast majority of the state, it's going to be just a gorgeous day today. High temperatures from the mid-70s in the far north to the upper 70s, a couple degrees warmer than yesterday, but just great, beautiful, fair skies, lots of sun, relatively low humidity. It's just beautiful conditions to be outside here during the day today. One last thing off to the south, and again, thinking about Marisol's observation, we still have the remnants of what was Hurricane Nicholas, which made landfall in Texas a couple days ago. It is going nowhere fast, and more showers and thunderstorms and heavy rain associated with this. The totals just keep getting larger each day. And in the weather maps, you're going to see not much change down there. But given the upper air trajectory here being right now not conducive to move that, any of the remnants or the moisture from that anywhere much further north, that is not going to impact us really at all. It'll be mostly the Gulf and the southeast that's influenced by that. So by tomorrow morning, here's the weather map. You can see this frontal boundary gets closer. We've got the threat again, scattered showers and a few embedded thunder showers for upper Michigan tomorrow. That will spread into the lower peninsula late to tomorrow and into tomorrow evening overnight. That's the next chance for rain. This is not a major big rain producer. Many areas will see little or no rainfall. Most spots that do see rain, probably a few tenths of an inch. So again, not a big producer or nothing heavy is expected with this. And then finally, by Saturday morning, you can see the front clears the state down to the south and east. It is a cold front, but it really is not, temperature-wise, we're not going to see much of a change in terms of our temperatures. It's actually going to get warmer, especially starting on late Saturday and into Sunday, when we'll see temperatures back up well above normal, probably back up into the 80s for highs once again. That'll be the case on Sunday and Monday, and then a little bit cooler towards the middle of next week. That's the next weather system of note. And after tomorrow and into early Saturday, the next chance for rain not coming until probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And that one actually looks right now a little bit more, well, certainly more promising, or a little bit more in terms of aerial coverage and amounts, probably a quarter to half inch type of precip totals, but by the middle of next week. So I know some of you have asked about thinking about wheat and planting and establishment of the crop here and dry topsoils. Right now, it looks as though most of the best chances for rain here over the next 24 hours will be across northern portions of the state, decreasing as you go south. But by next week, again, Tuesday and Wednesday, we should see a little bit better coverage of rainfall then. But it'll be a few days, and we also have some warm temperatures to deal with between them. So the potential evapotranspiration rates are also going to be higher than normal. Here are the totals forecast through next Thursday morning, and you can see for most of the state, again, quarter to half inch amounts, a little bit higher as you go west in the state. That'll be where we, again, see the best coverage and highest amounts, decreasing towards the east. And I mentioned PET rates for the week, definitely above normal with a forecast of warmer than normal conditions here. Most totals are in that 0.9 to about 1.05 inch range. And again, we're getting towards the end of the season. I was out on the road last weekend, and I did see quite a few people, or several people, still irrigating, getting the most out of those later planted crops and so forth. But we will have elevated water demand here over the next week because of the warmer than normal temperatures that are expected. Moving into the medium range forecast guidance, or at least in the medium range realm here, where are we headed? Well, it's mostly a typical fall pattern, but in general, this large ridge you see over here on the left-hand side here, this is a 6 to 10 day outlook. That's what's going to be over us for the next at least week to week and a half. And as long as that's there, we will be looking at warmer than normal mean temperatures. You can see the forecast of mean temperatures here in the upper right. Most of central and eastern U.S. are forecast to be warmer than normal. I think that's a very, very strong likelihood, even though we will have, again, a break. The latter half of the work week next week will be a little bit more or closer to normal, but I would look for a warm up after that as well. Finally, beyond this, it also calls for, in this case, above normal precipitation. If I were to have made this forecast, and based on the guidance I saw, in all honesty, I probably would have went normal to below normal. And I think we probably may see a little bit drier than normal conditions here over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Would not be surprised at all. The 8 to 14 day outlook, while it does also call for warmer than normal mean temperatures, it does suggest drier than normal conditions. And that's probably what I would have put here if I would have made the forecast, but I didn't. This is the official one from the Climate Prediction Center. So I share that with you, but I guess the point is certainly more confidence in the temperature forecast than there is in the precip. So hopefully we'll get some precipitation next week, again, for those people trying to get some fall planting done and some growth here, late season growth on forages, et cetera, because it has, in some parts of the state, it has gotten a little bit dry once again. So summing up here, a pretty straightforward forecast that we're looking at, but warmer than normal temperatures is the main theme. Today will probably be the coolest day of the upcoming week. Beautiful conditions today. And the first weather system, mainly northern sections here tomorrow and into early Saturday, spreading southeastward. And then a warm, dry weekend back up into the mid 80s for high temperatures, with probably some upper 80s in the southern part of the state on Monday. And then the next chance for the next weather system, the middle of next week on Tuesday and Wednesday, with a little bit cooler temperatures by that point in time. So not a completely atypical, but certainly warmer than what we typically are here at this time of the year. I'll wrap up there and move ahead to introduce our speaker. And this is, it's hard to believe, but I think this is our last scheduled virtual breakfast here for next Thursday morning, but that's the 23rd. And Dr. Corey Clark is going to be with us, and she is a farm business management educator with MSU Extension. So please be here again a week from today, Thursday. We'll do a little bit of weather. We'll look ahead primarily at the late fall and the early winter as well, and do some wrap-up activities as well. But next Thursday, don't remember to be here then as well. And with that, I will turn it back to Phil, possibly for additional information.